The stocks in the world government should be up right now. I don't want to hear any more slander about them because there's a term, if you want something done right, you gotta do it yourself. And the Gorosei have finally started to get in on the action. In doing so, a major reveal has happened in chapter 1094, so you guys have not read this chapter, go back and read it and come back to this video. The Gorosei I am referring to that got a major reveal is Saint Jay Garcia Saturn. This video is me doing a deep dive about chapter 1094 and what it means for not only the other Gorosei, but for other characters that have interacted with them. If you guys enjoyed regular anime content, make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you guys never miss out on a new video. With that, my name is Potential Unleashed, and let's talk about what happened with Saint Jay Garcia Saturn in chapter 1094. So what exactly happened in chapter 1094? At last, she took control over the Pacifista because of how the hierarchy, how it goes. They are now in the Straw Hats and Vegapunk's control. The fighting continued, and we cut to different individuals and we see their reactions. The Marines, the Straw Hats, and I specifically want to mention Jinbei, Lucci, Kizaru, Luffy, and Zoro because their reactions were more focused on. Even Jinbei mentioned, what is this ominous presence that was approaching them? Then an individual commanded the Pacifista to cease all action, and the only other person who's ahead of Vegapunk in the pecking order is a member of the Gorosei. So Saint Jay Garcia Saturn has made his move and is making landfall on Egghead Island. There was a magic circle that appeared on the ground where Saint Jay Garcia spawned, I guess you could say. When I first read this chapter, my first instant reaction was a few things. I thought of a transmutation circle from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, but a transmutation circle is what allows an alchemic transmutation to begin. And this consists of reshaping pre-existing matter, and we've never seen anything be successful when it deals with living things. And I guess you could say technically a chimera was successful, but it's not really summoning anything. I also thought about a summoning jutsu like in Naruto, but those you typically need a contract and they're typically made with animals. And then there's Yu-Gi-Oh, where you would sacrifice weaker monsters to summon really powerful ones, but in this instance nobody is sacrificing anything. We've seen a summoning circle in One Piece before. It happened in chapter 524 involving Brook after he was teleported and sent to this island because of Kuma, and there were different individuals who were devil worshippers trying to summon the Lord of Demons to punish the Long Garb tribe. Maybe this was foreshadowing from Oda on how the Gorosei would appear to the lower realm. And I call it the lower realm because of something that was stated by Saturn during this chapter, which I'll talk about a little bit later. On the summoning circle, there was a number 5. We know that there are 5 Gorosei, so what does this number represent? Is it the order of importance with their roles? Is it strength? Is it 5 being the highest number, or is that considered the lowest number? And where does this number end? What I mean by that is, look at, for example, Bleach. We know the Espada and that they had numbers represented on their body in order to say how strong that they are, and we assumed that number 1 was the strongest Espada, but there was actually a number 0. Granted, you can make the arguments that the numbers aren't exactly where every member's strength really should be, but still I wanted to mention this because it is a possibility when you look at it in this particular situation around One Piece. But I also don't know for certain what this number actually means, but as Saint Garcia Saturn was emerging from the circle, a warning was issued to the Marines. Now the wording, it could change when the official translation drops, but the word from word statement from the scans was, any Marine below the rank of Commodore is hereby ordered to avert their gaze. Transgressors will not be forgiven. We saw that once one lower level Marine did not avert his gaze, he was attacked and probably killed by Saturn. What's the big deal if people view them or not? There was a line from Saturn that I want to bring up. He mentioned that he almost can't remember the last time he came to the surface. I've seen some people speculate that he's a demon who finally came from hell to the surface, and it is a possibility, but I personally don't agree with this one. I think it's more likely he's referring to leaving Mary Jawa. We know that the Gorosei, they are the greatest authority of the celestial dragons, that they took over the red line from the Lunaries, who people consider them to be gods, and then after defeating them, the celestial dragons took that title. So they have not left that holy place and come down to the normal realm either since defeating the Lunaries or 800 years ago fighting the ancient kingdom. So they probably don't think that common people are worthy of viewing them in this form, which would make sense to why they killed Cobra and why they're so adamant about killing Sabo. All the more reason why Sabo getting away with only the damage he sustained was impressive. Because Saturn, he's an awakened zone and he definitely has Conqueror's Haki. It's not confirmed, but if you think otherwise, I just think you're tripping. Sabo was up against 5 of them plus Emu, not knowing if they're equal in strength or if some of them are stronger than others or if some of them have unique abilities or what abilities they share in common. Him surviving after being in a room with those monsters, Sabo just might be him. I also find it interesting that Oda did not officially introduce what Saturn's Devil Fruit actually is. Typically when forms are revealed, and this isn't all the time, but for the most part, Oda reveals what fruit they have. An example of this, once Lucci awakened, they said he had the cat fruit and they talked about how he was awakened. Now, does this mean anything? I've seen some people talk about the Gorosei not having a devil fruit power, but they actually could have devil powers. Because number one, like I mentioned earlier, Oda did not introduce Saturn with a devil fruit. His transformation is different from your typical zone devil fruit user and how they appear to be triggered by a ritual circle, and he's already in his awakened form right away, and typically Oda saves the strongest form for last. I personally don't think that this is the case. I just think Oda chose not to include it because he wanted to introduce Saturn's title along with him being in this menacing form, but I could be wrong. We'll have to wait and see. But let's talk about what his devil fruit could potentially be. So it is believed that Saturn has the devil fruit based off of the yokai, the Ushi-Oni. If you guys do not know what yokai are, in Japanese folklore, I believe that they are based off of spirits and other supernatural creatures with abilities. I know at One Piece we've seen a few of them. I believe we've seen the Kappa, the Oni, the Umibozu, and I believe the Tengu. And so the odds of them having more revealed in the series is pretty high. If you guys want to read more about yokai, I will leave the link to this website in the description below. And I also recommend you guys watch this anime. It's called Inspector, where basically this girl, she's supposed to be the leader of the spirits and yokai, and she goes around and tries to keep the balance between the natural world and the spirit world, I guess you could say. I believe it has 2 seasons. I'm almost finished with season 1 and it's pretty good. But I'm gonna read this for you guys so we know exactly what the Ushi-Oni is. Its appearance, it's a terror from Western Japan. Ushi-Oni is a class of monster that lives near water. The name literally means ox demon, and it refers to a number of different monsters with bovine traits. Most Ushi-Oni resemble an ox from the head up and a demonic horror below. Many variations are known to exist. The body of an ox with a head like an Oni's, the head of an ox on a body like a spider or a cat's, or even an ox head on the body of a kimono-clad human. So some of its behaviors, despite their unique and varying morphology, all Ushi-Oni share a number of characteristics pointing to a common origin. They're exceedingly cruel and savage. They breathe toxic poison and eat humans. Some Ushi-Oni are lurkers, attacking people who draw too close to their lairs. Other hunters roaming the coast seeking prey. The cruelest Ushi-Oni ravage the same towns over and over, inflicting terrible curses or bringing diseases. Although a few roam the mountains of the island of Shikoku, most Ushi-Oni live along the rocky coast and beaches of Western Japan. So these are some of the characteristics that the Ushi-Oni has. The fact that it is an ox-like head with a spider-like body, and some of the behavior that they mention, it could be some of the techniques that Jay Garcia Saturn could potentially have. Cutting back to the chapter, Saturn, he is transformed and standing over everyone. The different individuals that are there include Vegapunk, Sanji, Boney, Frankie, and Luffy. Boney attacks him and pierced him with a sword, and I'm not really going to read too much into this because we've seen strong individuals take blows and be fine. For example, Whitebeard when he was stabbed at Marineford. If I had to do a quick guess of the different matchups, I'd say it's probably going to be Luffy versus Garcia Saturn because of the relevance with Nika and how much the elders have talked about it. Heck, even when Luffy was falling, Garcia Saturn mentioned Nika. Then it'll probably be Sanji and Kizaru because Luffy weakened him a little bit and Sanji's the only one strong enough to at least keep Kizaru busy. We've seen Sanji stall against a main opponent before, Doflamingo in Dressrosa. He has his German abilities plus Ifrit Jump, but I think Sanji will be able to stall Kizaru while the others escape. I know I was expecting Jay Garcia Saturn to be strong, but I also wasn't expecting him to spawn from a circle like that. He's really powerful and he looks like a freaking monster. The Straw Hats, they're definitely in a pickle. They're in a rough situation, and I cannot wait to see how the Oda is going to write them and how they're going to get out of this. But let me know how you guys feel about Saint Jay Garcia Saturn in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you guys never miss out on a new video. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. It's on the screen in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to unleash your potential.